Hi, good morning. It's Thursday, April 30th. Just, I don't know, a little after 5 in the morning. Um, ugh, I don't feel great today. I don't know, I just feel off. I feel like if I still got regular periods that I would be PMSing, but I feel like going through perimenopause, it's almost like you're in a constant state of PMS. There's like a day or two out of a couple months where you like, geez, I feel like myself. That's shocking. And then you're just kind of back into it. And the weather has changed Monday and Tuesday. I think the last video I put out, I was outside. It was beautiful. I was feeling really good. And then it just turned from like 70 to almost 80 degrees to it's 40, just a little over 40 degrees outside right now, and it's rainy and cold and dark, and just feel like we're back in winter, and it's just so mentally and emotionally so anyways, it's a struggle. Today is definitely commitment over motivation day. And yesterday, there's another reason I don't feel that great today. Yesterday, so this will be my first video where I binged yesterday. And the funny thing is now that I'm doing these videos, I've always like recorded this in my own journals, but now that I'm putting this out to the world, I actually thought of that yesterday, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm gonna have to do a video saying that I was weak and I indulged. But honestly, it was weird. Yesterday was a little different. So I'm not gonna go into it too much just because I've already rehashed so much in my journals. But it's interesting because before I was reading like Get Out of Your Own Way, this I think is gonna be helpful. And I probably should read other books about I've been wanting to read Habit, like, what's that? Atomic Habit. I've been wanting to read those books, so I'm sure I'll pick up them next. But anyways, I think this is going to be helpful. There's some tips and tricks in here that, actually kind of really helped yesterday. But yeah, so yesterday, okay, I guess I'll just jump right to the actual behavior. And then I'll kind of backtrack. So basically, my binging wasn't as bad as it used to be. And by used to be, I mean like 3 weeks ago. So not even all that long ago. But hey, right there is a win. It's been 3 weeks since I, felt like I fell off the wagon. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. But so there we go. Celebrate a win. It's been a few weeks that I've been really solid. And I don't just mean like I resisted eating junk food. I just mean like I didn't really have the strong cravings and desires and all that in my head. So that's great. So something is changing. Things are adjusting up here, which is where I need it to adjust. Like my stomach doesn't really get hungry. Like I don't know what real hunger is. It's all in my head. So anyways, that's great. But yeah, yesterday, so what I ended up eating was a bag of healthy granola, which sounds so ridiculous. It sounds like, what is your problem? But like for me, it was just, well, not even for me, like it was just too much sugar. I mean, like okay, so it had like oil in it and coconut sugar and maple syrup. So, I mean, here's the deal. I was much more aware and conscious of the behavior, and was able to steer myself from the bag of chips that I wanted, the case of Oreos, the whole case. I was able to steer myself from my, I guess the foods I normally go to, and I knew I was going to do the whole like lay in bed thing and watch TV and binge eat, but I steered myself away from my other foods and I chose a snack that, you know, on the surface is healthier. Like it used coconut oil instead of palm or vegetable oil, which, you know, whatever. I don't really do it, whatever. Ugh. I hate labeling and hierarchy and things like that. But, you know, I mean, I guess if you're going to overeat on something, you might as well do it on something that isn't quite as bad. I don't know. Like the sugar was different, like maple syrup and stuff like that. Okay, so anyways, good. That's a win. So that's great. And then the other thing that was different was I consciously decided not to lay in bed. I think that's another thing is, you know, they always say your bed should be where you sleep. Like, don't watch TV in there, don't eat in your bed, things like that. And it's just a mind game, a mental game. So I didn't. I went to my couch, which, you know, whatever. I mean, I guess I wasn't in my bed. So there we go. So, you know, after I journaled and I wrote and I did, Corey suggests, you know, like, stepping outside of yourself. And if you do, you know, give in to the behavior that you're trying to get rid of, use it as a tool and use it as a way to kind of break down what happened, how you were feeling, choices you made, you know, things like that. So you can really look at it in a non-emotional, non-judgment way. So that's what I decided to do with that. But here's where I'm going to backtrack. So I kind of knew I was in trouble when I woke up. I could tell immediately, even though the day before I had felt wonderful. I went to bed feeling wonderful. Sun was shining. Birds were singing when I fell asleep. Because I go to sleep so early. Man, and just overnight, my emotions and my mood changed and my mental state. I just was like, I'm not like depressed or anything. And I mean, you know, but I don't know. You just have those days where like, I just don't want to. I just don't want to. And yesterday was one of those days. But I worked 8 to 12 yesterday at the storehouse. Yeah, and you know, it was fine. I mean, it was fine. You know, we had a good time. I enjoyed talking to my coworkers. Everything went fine, but it was just, I could just tell that the craving to lay in bed and eat a whole entire several bags of things, I could tell that familiar craving was there. So then I felt like the next thing was that I kind of let it sit a little bit. And maybe that's something I need to address. Like, why didn't I nip it in the bud right away? I don't know. But it's interesting because there was a point early in the morning, like I got there at 8 and maybe by like 9:30, I said to my coworker, I was like, I am not my thoughts, because I was sitting there thinking, or standing there working and thinking and thinking and thinking about what snack food I wanted to pick out on and if I wanted to, and I was wrestling with it and really starting to enjoy the feeling of looking forward to that moment when I, you know, let myself pick out the bag of chips and stuff like that. And I just was starting to look forward to it. And then I stopped and I took a step outside myself, or I don't know how you say it, but I guess I separated myself from that feeling, that craving. And it actually worked. I actually was like, oh, there's my craving right there. It doesn't really have a big hold on me. Oh, like, that's interesting. And so I said, I am not my thoughts. And I was like, huh, interesting. But then I was like, I have to go get groceries after work. I did bring my lunch so that I knew, at least I brought my lunch so that I knew I could eat my lunch and not go to the store starving to death, because that's a recipe for disaster, as every human being knows. So then, you know, the morning went on and I kind of was like, but it just kind of cycled back to not feeling that great. Oh, I didn't sleep good. I did not sleep good. And that's a huge factor. If I wake up and even if the sun is shining and it's beautiful out and all the planets are aligning, if I don't sleep, oh, everything just, that's the pin that you pull it and that collapses stuff. So that's another reason why I knew when I woke up that I was off. Okay, so the other thing that was off, wait, I wrote all this down. So the other thing that was off was, it was gross outside. I didn't sleep good. When I work at 8 in the morning on Wednesday, I don't go to the gym. So immediately I had taken the mental escape of exercise. Oh my God, I almost said exorcism. The mental escape of exercise. I had taken that away, and then you take away the good sleep and you take away the nice weather that helps you, get up and go. It was a recipe for disaster. Plus, like with this whole perimenopause thing, I'm like, I don't have my period for 3 months, and then I get it for a couple days, it goes away, and then I get it again, and then it goes away. So I'm in that, like, it went away phase, but I don't know. It's almost constant PMS. Anyway, so let's just say the planets completely unaligned yesterday. So I kind of knew I was in trouble. So all of that, no exercise, blah, not a good recipe. And then having to go get groceries because I had to make Annie's food. And I had a few things that I could have bypassed the groceries, but then I just have to do it today after I teach the homeschool class. Again, that's kind of like a 8 to 12:30 in the morning, or 8 in the morning to 12:30 thing. So I knew if I didn't do it yesterday, I have to do it today. So, okay. So anyways, back to, I was at work. I had my moment of clarity, separated myself from the craving. And then, I don't know, it just started to latch on to me again. And again, I just thought, I'm like, how comforting it is to just escape the world, forget being a stupid adult, having to do all this dumb stuff just to live. I just want to lay in bed and eat stuff that at the moment makes me happy, but 10 minutes after I'm done, I know I'm not. So that's all I wanted. And I think I kind of made up my mind that I would do that. I gave myself permission, and that's okay. And then there was another moment of clarity, even after I had made the decision, which is really interesting because that shows me that my brain is not so set in its ways as I think it is. So then I was talking to another coworker. We were saying they're doing stuff, and I was telling her, like, oh, if I go grocery shopping, I'm afraid I'm going to buy, this, and this, and just sit and eat it all. So we were talking about it. And, voicing it outside, telling someone how I was feeling, kind of helped me unburden it. And it didn't have such a big hold on me. So that was really interesting too. And then I think that's kind of why yesterday was a little of a mixed bag. Like, it wasn't the worst binge day by any means that I've had. It was just different. And I realize I'm focusing a lot on the behavior of binge eating rather than, I'm trying to stop focusing on that behavior and focus on how I want my relationship with food to be. So it's just going to take time. So anyway, so I did end up heating up my lunch, which was, like squash and potatoes and tofu. So it was a nice healthy lunch, kind of light, which is fine. Yeah, so I heated that up. I had that. And then I went and got my groceries. And again, I think using some of the tools in her book, like stepping outside yourself for a second, like just detach yourself from the craving, let it go for a second, just watch it float by, was pretty helpful. And I think that's why I was able to at least change my craving a little bit. So all in all, I feel like it wasn't a win, but it wasn't a huge loss either. I think I learned a lot from it. I don't want this video to go on too long, so I will say, and then I did keep snacking some after I had the granola, but it was on healthy, homemade, one like little, they're pretty small, little healthy, chocolate little Oreo cake that I make, yeah, and then basically I was full, and that was at like 2 or 2:30 maybe. And then I don't eat dinner on a snack day like that. So I just drink a lot of water the rest of the day. But yeah, I felt really gross afterwards. It was just like too much sugar. It was ugh. It's too much sugar. My stomach still feels off. And plus, like, I'm pretty sure my stomach had shrunk the past week or two from kind of, I don't know, just not eating as much as I used to. So I just felt very full all night. So of course I didn't sleep great last night either. But yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. So here's what I'm going to do going forward. She gives a couple other tricks in the book that I will give to you, just so that if you want to buy the book, that's great, but I don't get anything from her. I don't know. She doesn't know I exist. But anyways, it's a great book. So I'm going to start an abstinence experiment because I really feel like I just want to do this, but I've always believed I was an all or nothing person, and I want to see how that goes. I'm going to do this first, and then maybe I'll do another experiment where I let myself, or I don't know how to phrase it, but maybe it's like a moderation experiment. I'll see. I guess the thing is like, I don't want to put oil and that kind of sugar and stuff in my body, and my experience has shown me that abstinence is the best thing for me. Okay, so wait, one other tip, which I thought was it's funny, but I feel like it's gonna work. She said one thing that she does is say say I'm really craving things that day. Okay, so yesterday I was craving these particular tortilla. They're called street corn Mexican chips or something like that. If you work at Nature Storehouse, you'll know what I'm talking about. They're the vegan Dorito, and they are ridiculous. They are so good. So I had a whole entire bag once, and I said, I'm never going to get them again. Okay, so I was craving that. I was craving really just salty, crunchy, that kind of thing. So, like potato chips, and then of course I always love Oreos and stuff like that. So I had these certain foods in my mind that I wanted. So here's the trick. She said, Corey, she said that she imagines herself as the bus driver and her cravings are sitting in the seats. And she's like, okay, here's a bus stop. Doritos, you get off this one. And we drive a little bit. All right, Oreos, you get off at this stop. One, I just think that's hilarious. And two, I'm like, that's genius. I'm like, I feel like that might work for me because I'm such a dork. That would totally work for me. So I'm going to try that next time. But anyway, so abstinence experiment. You just take a time frame where you abstain from the behavior or the food or whatever your craving or desire is. So for me, it's food. Specifically, I've realized it's specifically store-bought ultra processed food, because I do have my healthy Oreo cakes once in a great while. I work it into my calorie count. I can have it and I feel good about it. And that's great. It's all good stuff. I have no problem with that. I make corn tortilla chips at home. That's totally fine. I've realized the behavior I want to stop is binging on store-bought ultra-processed food. And I purposely say binging, I purposely avoid saying binging on homemade healthy snacks because I don't binge on those. I do have a true like one and done because it doesn't have the addicting qualities. So that's very interesting. So I'm going to abstain from store-bought ultra-processed junk. And I'm just going to do it for 3 weeks. And I know that it's not forever. It's just 3 weeks. I can do that. I was going to do a month, but in 1 month, almost exactly, we travel to New Brunswick to visit my sister. You know, I'm not sure. I have good control over my food when I travel. But anyways, I figured I'll just do 3 weeks. So anyways, whatever. So 3 weeks, I'm going to abstain from store-bought ultra-processed food. And this video will be one of my accountability tools. I'm not going to focus on the behavior of buying that food and binging. I'm going to focus on how I want to feel about food and my relationship with food. I'm going to detach myself from my urges. I am not my thoughts. My thoughts are not me. I'm not my urges. My urges are not me. I'm going to drop my cravings off at bus stops. And I'm going to be very aware of when I get out of bed. You know, there's already a few clues as to how my day is going to go. How I slept, kind of immediately I can tell I'm unknowingly in tune with myself, so I can tell if I'm going to have a mentally stable day or if I'm going to be all out of whack and really just have to push myself through the day. So anyways, but here's another thing I'm going to do is on days where I have to leave the house, and I feel off and I feel a little, I don't want to use the word weak, but I feel a little weak. I'm going to bring my journal with me and maybe my notebook that I am keeping track of the experiment. I'm going to bring them with me so that if there is a time when I feel like I need them, I have them to write down. I always have my phone, so I could also do a quick little journal. But yeah, so there's a couple things I'm going to do. So I'm going to start this today is 4/30/26, and I'm going to stop. The end date is 5/14/26. Now that doesn't mean 5/14 or 5/15, May 15th, I'm going to suddenly pig out. It just means my brain knows that it doesn't have to do this forever. We can do this for 3 weeks. That's fine. So I'm going to try that. So I don't know. Overall, I don't feel great about yesterday, but I also don't feel like it was a huge thing because again, in the grand scheme of things, I've done wonderfully amazing for a couple weeks, 3 weeks or whatever. So in the long view, I'm like, that's fine. It's totally fine. I'm not as hard on myself, which is kind of shocking. So, I'm learning my brain is not as rigid as I think it is. That's probably a limiting belief right there, is that I can't change. My brain is just stuck the way it is. Another limiting belief that I discovered, and then I'll wrap it up, is, which I kind of was not sure. I mean, we all have them. We just might not be aware of them. One of my thoughts yesterday was, so I was telling my coworker, maybe I won't go get groceries. Maybe I'll just go home so that the temptation isn't there. And then my very next thought after I said I'm not going to get groceries, my very next thought is, geez, Julie, you're so weak that you can't even go get groceries? That's ridiculous. That you have to completely avoid the grocery store just so you don't binge eat. And I believed it. And I'm like, wait, no. That's not true. I mean, sure, it might be true, and that's fine. That's a tool you can use. If you're trying to abstain from drinking, why go to a bar? I mean, first of all, there's nothing wrong with me not going and getting groceries when I feel weak. Jeez. But then that limiting belief is that I was weak and couldn't hack it. And I'm like, that is so not true. Why did I believe that? And so that's probably why I went and got groceries, so I could prove to myself that I wasn't as weak as my stupid brain. Oh, you guys, I don't know. It's just crazy what we do to ourselves. So I recorded that. I'm recording it here. I'm writing down all my limiting beliefs that I say to myself throughout the day that I don't even realize that I'm saying. So I ultimately feel good about this because I think I'm making progress. I just feel like I'm learning new tools. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be fine. No, I mean, I know it's definitely going to be fine. The, snacking yesterday didn't throw me off as much as I feel like mentally I'm back on the healthy train. Yeah, so I don't know, it was interesting, and I'm glad I did this video. I was kind of dreading it because we want to be perfect and we want to show everyone that we're perfect, but we are not, and life is not perfect. Life is really annoying sometimes. I still have the feeling that I don't want to I don't want to adult. I just want to crawl back in my bed and watch cartoons or I don't know what, but I don't feel like being an adult today. But that's okay. What I'm going to do is get up. I'm dressed, ready for the gym. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to upload some of these videos here. I'm going to go teach my class. And then the real trick is this afternoon, because I do fine until after lunch. That's when the cravings hit. That's when I get tired and I want to just lay around. Yeah. So it's this afternoon, but I will have my journal and my book with me, and I'll be home and not at a grocery store. So yeah, it'll be cool. But I'll check in later and let you guys know how everything's going. All right, so I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Try to catch your limiting beliefs as you say them to yourself throughout the day. Take note of them. And maybe if you get a second, write it down and write down why it's not true. And then maybe you won't say that to yourself anymore. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, this video went on long enough. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll call it my confessional video. Okay, awesome, guys. I will see you later. Everyone have a great day. Bye. Hey guys, I just wanted to pop in for a second. I got done at the gym. I'm at the Remington Art Museum getting ready for my homeschool art class that I teach, and I just wanted to say that I feel much better mentally and physically than I did even maybe 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago when I was doing the video, which is wonderful, because there are times when you don't feel good about yourself and you have regrets and you feel really down on yourself, and it's really good to know that you can turn that around. For me, I feel like the exercise was the key. I really need to, I know this about myself. I know exercise is kind of the pin that holds everything together. I've said it before, but yeah. So anyways, I wanted to check in real quick. Feel good mentally, emotionally, all of that. Yeah, so it's lovely. All right, and it's not raining. It's not as bad out as I thought. All right, I'll check in later. Bye guys, have a good one.